Okay, so pretend this is your race car. It's on the trailer, and you have an accident. Ouch! At least your truck's insurance will pay for another one? Yeah, not so fast. Standard insurance won't replace your race car, whether it's in the trailer, in the paddock, in the garage, or the repair shop. But at Haggerty, we can protect it for what it's really worth anytime it's off the track. No matter what or where you race, all for less than a set of race tires. Haggerty, let's drive together.
What does it mean to be built with Summit? It means you're hitting the autocross, drag strip, road course, trail, dirt, or open road with confidence. Because built with Summit means you're using parts from the top names in performance. Priced to make your project affordable. And it's all backed by trusted tech expertise and blazing fast shipping. Summit Racing Equipment. Let's build it together. SummitRacing.com.
Welcome back, Barber Motorsports Park. There is 1 and 2 in the Trans Am Series points. Right there, Paul Menard, and then here in the top liner machine, Adam Andretti. Adam 46 markers behind their Trans Am presented by Pirelli Championship. Menard, the reigning champ, looking to hang on to the title for another season. Mustang versus Camaro. Ford versus Chevy. At all the makings of a great title fight. Probably not going to get locked up here this weekend. Should go all the way to COTA unless something really dramatic happens here today. Although we've seen that earlier this weekend, so you just never know. Tommy Dreese is third in the championship. 10 points in front of Chris Dyson, who's really been driving fantastic lately. And then Amy Ruman is fifth in the title, and she can mix it up with those guys because she's only 20 markers behind Dyson. So third, fourth, and fifth can turn upside down here for sure before we wrap up the season at COTA at the end of the month. Josh Carlson has locked up SGT. Chris Coffey has locked up GT. And John DeGainer, GT1. And then Tristan McKee looking to lock things up in TA2, Q3 Architecture TA2 Championship. So Andretti with the first fast lap of 127.904. Teresi not too far off. Just 100th off. Menard, got to find a little pace. I'm fully expecting Paul to do that. Good to have David Pinteric back here with us as well this weekend. Driver out of Canfield, Ohio. She's fourth. Amy is fifth in her big red Corvette. Now this is going to be an incredibly busy racetrack for these Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli drivers. A lot of gear changes. A lot of input in the steering. 900 horsepower machines in this tight, twisty 17-turn racetrack. Belching the flames out is Adam Andretti, that top liner machine. And the Pittsburgh Paints and Stains number 3 of Paul Menard. Right there through the hairpin and headed back the other way. Menard jumps to a 122.628, but Adams right there on pace. He falls to second, but he's 122.953, so he's 0.3 behind that. And then Tommy Dreese hanging right with him in his big machine, 125.908. So again, he stays within just a couple of hundredths of Adam Andretti. Tracy in that trench showing Motul back Camaro. Pinteric is fourth. We haven't seen Dyson out yet. Inside of 9 minutes to go. Menard to a 121.645. Andretti stays at the 122.9. Here's Dreesy. He gets a little quicker, 125.101. So this is really going to be a fight between Andretti and Menard right now for number one. Good look at Charlotte at her web. Stalking over the hairpin. And Chris Dyson now rolling out with 8 minutes remaining in this TA qualifying session. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli Machines. That's Chris exiting out of the pit lane. Menard at a 121.6, Andretti 122.9, Dreesy 125.1, Ruben 126.3, and then Pinteric at 130.8. Top two awfully close. I fully expect to see Chris Dyson get right into the middle of that fight between them. Menard 121.1 now, 121.1. Here comes Andretti. $122.8. So a second and change now between Menard and Andretti. Dreesy. Sticking there, that 125.101 in the trench shoring Motul Camaro. Here's Amy. McNichol's Corvette, sitting fourth quickest with a 125.665. Dyson getting around Menard, so Paul feels like he's putting a pretty good one. Maybe he's going to try to follow Dyson a little bit. Here's Adam Andretti, that 122.886. On board the Jim Wee back machine of Chris Dyson. Inside of 6 minutes to go now. We watch Dyson working his way around. Dreesy across the line. He gets a little quicker, 124.603 now, 124.603. I think Menard might have visited the pit lane. Yes, Paul is on pit lane as he slowly crawls past us now. Figuring his 121.126 is pretty good, at least for a front row spot. Certainly advantageous to be on the pole here because it gets real tight getting into one and then beyond that. So if you can have the lead going into one, you can get yourself pretty secure out front for a while. Of course, this is the first time Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli has visited Barber Motorsports Park. So we're about to have a first-time pole winner here. Dyson 124.938. He's fifth quickest for now. We should see that time dropping significantly though. Chris comes into the race tied for second on the all-time win list. He has some experience here at Barber. Raced in the Grand Am Cup here and Pirelli World Challenge Series. Grand Am in 03, Pirelli World Challenge in 2015. He's tied with Mark Donohue for second most TA class wins at 29, chasing Paul Gentilozzi, who has 31. So he's only 2 behind him, and there's 2 races left on the 2025 schedule. See if he can tie Paul before the end of the year here. Coming up on less than 4 minutes to go. 121.126 is what everybody's shooting for. That's what Menard laid down. Andretti's gotten to a 122.3. Here's Dyson again. He's 5th right now. Not for long. He goes to number 2. 121.416. 0.3 of a second off of Menard. And he stays out for another heater. Inside of 3.5 minutes to go. Andretti, 122.3, sits in 3rd. Remember, it's Andretti and Menard separated by 46 points, fighting for the championship. So Adam's certainly going to want to be on that front row if he can. Menard making his way back out onto the racetrack with less than 3 minutes to go. Right now. So the battle is on for the first pole here. The Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Adam Andretti is on pit lane. 122.3, his best for now. Crew not rushing to service the car in any way, checking some tire temps for Adam. Dyson looking to improve on that 121.4. Here he is on the front straightaway. Let's see what he does. He's 2nd right now. Chris Dyson goes to number 1. First car into the 120 range. 120.674 for Chris Dyson. 120.674. A blisteringly quick lap here. Menard now is on the track. He is 2nd now with that 121.1. Then Andretti, Dreese, Rumen, and Pinteric. Our drone hovering over Dyson's car. Looks like he's slowing down. He's laid down his quick lap. He's going to leave it up to everybody else to try to take a shot at it. Here's Menard. Paul to the front straightaway. No improvement on that lap. He's got 1.5 minutes. Dreese, nothing better than the 124.1. Andretti still sitting on the pit lane. Watching Paul Menard trying to catch Chris Dyson here. Paul pushing hard in that Pittsburgh paints and stains. Number 3. "25 seconds left on the clock. Dyson's on pit road. He's done a remarkable job with a 120.674. Menard across the line. No improvement. 121.126. So with 3 seconds, 2, 1, checkered flag will end the session. Chris Dyson will take the pole here today in the Jim Weed. Number 16, great job by Chris Dyson as he captures the pole here today. There's Paul Menard. He'll be rolling on from the outside of row number 1 when we take the green tomorrow. Chris will crawl out of the car, and Ben is right there. All right, Ben, take it away, buddy.
Well, thank you very much. I'm down here in the Jim Weed section, and right now, provisionally, Chris Dyson is first, P1 by about, I'd say 3/4 of a second. Stevie Dick's talking to him. So Dyson, very good run as Paul comes through here. And, you know, we talk about tracks like Lime Rock. It's very important to qualify P1. I'd put this track as one of those tracks that's going to be difficult to pass. P1 probably means a lot, especially that we've never been here. You just broke a record.
Yeah, you know, Ben, the car's been really good. We lost yesterday because we were trying something that didn't quite work out, but it was fabulous. We picked up where we left off at Virginia, and I think, yeah, starting up front in this tight of a place is definitely an advantage. I've raced here before, and I think that probably gave me a little bit of a head start. But the car is absolutely fantastic. I mean, I've got to give full credit to the guys, Mike Lancy, the engine, the guys working so hard to make sure that this Jim Weed car stays up front. I just want to say hi to the family at home.
Well, now, we talk about that. I want to say hi to your family at home, too. Dyson family, your dad, you guys are all over the record books, but now another one, you know, fastest lap, but the first pole for the Trans Am Series at Barber. How's that feel?
Well, you know, Ben, you're only as good as your last event, and, you know, it's nice to know that we've kind of put our stamp on this one so far. Race day is tomorrow, obviously, but we had a great week. You know, Dad went into the IMSA Hall of Fame last week. We went down to the Petit Le Mans and just had a blast down there. But back to work this weekend, and the guys have not rested since Virginia, and I'm pleased to reward them.
I love it. Well, Jim Weed is out front. And now next, we've got the Trans Am, the XGT, SGT, GT qualifying. I'm going to send it up to you in the booth, Ralph.
All right, Ben, thank you. Well, for the 5th time in 2025, Chris Dyson will lead the field to the green in turn number 1 as he wins his 5th pole for the season. Again, he's tied for 2nd all-time on the win list. Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. At 29 with the great late Mark Donohue, trying to catch Paul Gentilozzi at 31. So he could get a step closer to that tomorrow, and then maybe tie Paul at Circuit of the Americas to close out the 2025 season, which would be spectacular. What an up and down year it has been for Chris Dyson. Big shunt at Sebring, another one at Lime Rock Park, yet he has strung together a bunch of victories in between. 5 poles. He's been incredibly fast, very competitive all year. If it wasn't for those 2 crashes, he'd be right there fighting with Andretti and Menard for the crown. Another one to add to his illustrious career in the Trans Am Series presented by Pirelli. Okay, so the big fire-belching 900 horsepower Trans Am cars have decided their championship qualifying for tomorrow. Now for the rest of the field. GT1, XGT, SGT, and GT cars begin their qualifying session. It was Kaylee Bryson in that yellow and black Corvette. First one to the line in XGT. In XGT today, we got Eric Joyner and the Good Boy Bob Coffey Porsche 991 GT3R. We got Billy Griffin, the Griffin Auto Care Mercedes AMG GT3. Danny Lowry, the Bennett Bridge Hall Pit Boxes Mercedes AMG GT3. And Kaylee Bryson in the Logical Systems Incorporated Chevy Corvette. In SGT, we've got Cary Grant in the Grant Racing 2 Porsche GT3 Cup machine. Patrick Paul, the Paul Racing Enterprises Ford Mustang. Eric Foss, South Dallas Turf Chevrolet Corvette, and Milton Grant, the Century Self-Storage Spring Hill Suites Porsche 9911. In GT, Adrian Vostovsky making his first start of the year in the category. CMI Fast Howe Racing Howe HR6. Jake Latham, the Coffee Motorsports Traffic Graphics Maserati MC GT4. Colin Cohen, Norwood Auto Italia Traffic Graphics Maserati MC GT4. Brian Gluck, FFR Freedom Coffee Gallant Few FFR Daytona 65R, which is that car right there, I believe. That's the Daytona that we were just talking about. Yep, sure is. Car 47. Brian Gluck is Daytona 65R. And then rounding out that GT field is Chris Coffey, Norwood Auto Italia Traffic Graphics Maserati MC GT4. Qualifying underway for this group. Vostovsky is double duty here this weekend. Adrian going to do this event, and then a little over 2 hours later, he's going to crawl in the TA2 car, which he has been running all season, to compete in that series as well. It's a lot of laps for Adrian this weekend here at Barber Motorsports Park. I think that's great. I think it's awesome to see these drivers getting as many laps as they can. If you're wondering, by the way, the other venues where Chris Dyson won the pole this year was Laguna Seca, Lime Rock Park, Watkins Glen, and Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. Try to get you caught up on all the data and news. That would be Adrian right there coming across the line in that red and black Howe Racing HR6 the Maspeth, New York, basically New York City. Billy Griffin quickest in XGT in his Mercedes AMG GT3, 127.396. Kaylee in XGT as well. Then Adrian in GT. And SGT, Patrick Hall, 131.649. Be quickest there. There's Adrian. Big 9 painted on the side of the Howe Racing entry. Here's that second Corvette, car 54. That's Eric Foss. That's South Dallas Turf Chevrolet C7. I believe it's a Z06. First time I can remember seeing that car this year. But he's from Fort Worth, Texas, so hopefully we'll see that car at the next round at COTA as well in Austin. Comes one of our AMG GT3s. That's Billy Griffin, the Griffin Auto Care Mercedes out of West Palm Beach, Florida. And he's number one right now in that category with 125.829. That would be XGT. Lowry with that 126.4 is also an XGT. Kaylee as well, an XGT. Paul then would be next up, an SGT with a 128.5. And then Adrian Vostovsky in GT 129.733. 6.5 minutes remaining here in our GT category qualifying session. This is round 11 of 12 for the championship. Trans Am presented by Pirelli. Kaylee locking up the title over Danny Lowry. She's got a little over 100-point lead in XGT. SGT, we told you Josh Carlson winning that title. Josh not here this weekend. Chris Coffey is here. He is the points leader in GT. He has that championship locked up. And GT1 would be John DeGainer, who has over 100-point lead over Rob Dickey in the GT1 category, which should be locked up as well. Carey and Milton Grant are the only drivers really close to being able to call Barber Motorsports Park their home track. No drivers are here from Alabama, but the Grants are from about 3.5 hours away in Tennessee. Carey from Eads and Milton in Germantown. Jake Latham making his debut in the series in the GT category in his Maserati. As we told you, Adrian Vostovsky doing double duty. He's got 2 hours and 50 minutes between TA and TA2. He's got the Howe HR6 GT going on here, and then, of course, his Ford Mustang in TA2. Grant's actually shared a Porsche GT3 Cup car here, the Grand Am Rolex Sports Car Series event back in 2008. Kaylee Bryson winning her XGT championship with the start tomorrow. That'll lock it all up for her. She will become the first woman to win championships in 2 different categories, XGT and SGT. The second woman to win 2 Trans Am championships, of course, Amy Ruman, the first to get it done. Josh Carlson, GT championship. Chris Coffey, Josh SGT, Chris Coffey GT champ. Three minutes ago, there's the Daytona. We saw that car run at Road Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. Grant getting by him in the Porsche. Griffin with a 125.804, topping the entire category right now. Billy in his Mercedes AMG GT3. Foss moves up with a 126.1. Eric in his C7 Corvette in SGT. Griffin in XGT. Lowry is also an XGT. Kaylee is an XGT Bryson. Then it's Paul in SGT. And Vostovsky in GT. Inside of 2 minutes to go, actually more like a minute and a half here. Close out our Trans Am by Pirelli qualifying session. Big cars are done, wrapping up the GT machines. Inside that final minute, just waiting for the checkered flag to come out here. Should be any second as our clock is frozen. And the checkered flag is now out at the flag stand. Session has ended. And it will be Lowry in his Mercedes. Danny Lowry in XGT. Mercedes AMG GT3. Billy Griffin also in XGT, second quickest. Foss in SGT, Eric Foss in his Corvette. Kaylee is also an XGT Bryson. And then Paul in SGT and Vostovsky, Adrian in GT. There's a look at your results once again. Not sure why Tommy Dreese's name keeps popping up, but obviously he was in the Trans Am category on the GT cars. And with that, we will take one more quick break and come back for more action from Barber Motorsports Park. Stay tuned.